What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. The Colorado Buffaloes versus the Stanford Cardinals. Let's just jump right in and talk about it. You know how we do? The Colorado Buffaloes in Boulder at home versus the Stanford Cardinals. Wow. When getting right goes very wrong. I mean, that's basically a great summary for what happened Friday night. A tale of two halves. I don't know if you remember, but they used to always say that football is a game of two halves, a tale of two halves. That was never more evident than last night. Another thing that was evident was that game was a visual microcosm of what Dion, a.k.a. Coach Prime, has been dealing with in Boulder, coaching these kids. You can see the tension building up. I talked about this before with how you deal with these kids, and it's a different day. Sometimes it's a thankless job preparing our kids for this world, whether as a father, as a coach. Sometimes it's a thankless job. Sometimes we're the bad guy. Just in preparing them for this world, let alone to win a football game or win a game. You can see that, kind of come to a head. There was nothing but tension, as after that halftime, that's all you saw. You saw it in the first half. It just looked as if it was going to be one of those situations where they were going to utilize that energy and whatever frustrations might be, to play better on the field, put it together on the field. Well, that's not what happened in the second half. First half looked okay, looked good. They looked dominant. Defense was doing what the defense is supposed to do. But for the most part, Shador was getting rid of the ball, making good plays. The running game was effective. All things were looking good. Special teams, all things were looking good in the first half. But one thing we know for sure, one of the things pressure can do, it can make diamonds. It can power wash the dirt. Pressure can wash the dirt off the surface. But it can also bust pipes. It can also break under pressure. It can also fracture. So we saw that fractured in Boulder. Not just with number 23's response on the sideline to Coach Prime. Number 23, I forget his name, but he's had some issues all season. As good as the secondary's been playing, I've seen number 23 get out there and get cooked before. I've watched that before. Against USC, he got cooked. My issue would be, Cormani McClain, man. What is he not doing to get it together, man, and get on the field? I mean, he's got to get it together, and they really need him on the field to perform. He did get in. He got in for a play or two. He came in, but why he can't stay on the field, I do not know. What he is not doing. Maybe he's not studying the plays. He doesn't know what's going on. He's not reading. He's just out there tunnel vision on what he's doing. He's not understanding on what needs to be done. I don't know. But that's an issue. You can see that for the most part, everybody is so used to having something said to them that they're in a hurry to say something to somebody else. You can see that. Everybody is so used to having something said to them that they're in a hurry to say something to somebody else. And that's players, the coaching staff, that's everybody. The players love saying something to each other. That's not constructive. That's not encouraging in the right way. Coaches are doing that to protect themselves. It looks similar the way I see the Colorado Buffaloes defensive coordinator on the sideline trying to stay so active and so busy that Deion doesn't say anything. I saw that with Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph was doing the same thing to the point where now he doesn't care for the Denver Broncos, the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. Now it's just like, man, whatever. 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 It's whatever. And that's where Deion doesn't want this program to get to. He doesn't want to get to the point to where him or any of his players or any of his coaching staff is feeling like, whatever. That's where it's going. And it's getting there fast. It's getting there fast in a Louis Vuitton handbag. No check. Carry on. You know what I'm saying? It's getting there fast. I mean, well, come on, man. You got to figure out to change that energy. You got to figure out how to incorporate, how to inject some positivity. You can't just, say all the nice sayings when the camera is on. You know what I mean? You can't send out all the quotes on social media, all the uplifting and inspirational quotes. When you guys are going through these moments, just like Coach Prime said, the players didn't stay in the moment. They didn't rise to the occasion in the moment, which is true. But these players obviously need uplifting in order for them to rise to the moment, in order for them to rise to the occasion, in order for them to rise, period. Obviously, these aren't the type of players across the board, the type of kids across the board that's just going to lift themselves. You really don't have those types of stars on this team where they're capable of lifting themselves. Shador is probably the only player you have on the team that, well, maybe Dylan Edwards. I give Dylan Edwards some credit for that as well. Dylan Edwards seems like he can get himself at a high level with regardless of what's going on. Shador Sanders is like that. He expects to play at a high level, so he can get himself at a high level regardless of what's going on around him. But for the most part, the rest of the team, they require some direction, encouragement, the right word placement at the right time, at the right moment, to help encourage the energy that you need for them to go out there and succeed. You can't just keep sucking the energy out with criticism. There's different ways and better ways and more productive ways to criticize. Those are some things that you learn over time, which Deion, this isn't his first coaching gig, but maybe it's come to a time where he has to look at himself. I said the same thing in my video about the Broncos and Sean Payton. Sometimes you get to a point as a coach where you have to look at yourself and say, you know what? What am I doing? What can I do better? What can I change? Every group isn't the same. I can't approach every player the same way. I can't approach every team that I have the same way. Even though I may be coaching this same team for 5 years, I might have to approach the team differently each of those years. However, majorly or minutely, however largely or however small, I might have to, adjust some things depending on the overall personality, the overall fortitude, the overall absorption ability of the team that I currently am coaching. So you have to gauge those things. And right now, these players on the Colorado Buffaloes aren't as equipped to keep handling or to keep dealing with, the pressures of Coach Prime. They want some happiness. They want some joy playing with Coach Prime. And it's not just going to come from victories, because we saw that win against Arizona State wasn't a joyous occasion for Coach Prime, right? So they want to get to that. Now, how do you get to that? It's not all on them. The point to be made, it's not all on them. Coach Prime has some of that responsibility, if not the majority of that responsibility, to make that the case, to make that environment. You just can't you just can't have the DJ. I told y'all this. And I know some people might have been like, I don't know. You can't just have the DJ spinning records at practice and think it's all good. You can't just throw on social media handles on the back of jerseys and say, all right, guys, this is for you. It's all good. You still have to also intertwine words of positive injection. And that's what they need. Travis Hunter, as great as he is, you could see him, he was stuck in his head all game long on the defensive end. He was not there defensively. He was getting cooked left and right by number 13. Cooked. And again, he didn't switch. He switched on to him late. But it didn't make any difference. He was cooking him. From games like this, you would look at it and say, you know what, maybe Travis Hunter is better equipped to focus on one side of the ball. And maybe we should see what that looks like. Maybe he's even that much more effective only being a wide receiver. Maybe he's even that much more effective only being a defensive back. Maybe. But we definitely don't want to see games where he's out there on both ends stinking it up on one side of the ball. And that's what happened. Remember I talked about Shiloh and the bad angles Shiloh takes? You see how it's contagious. You see how when you're not taught how to search for those proper angles, when you're not taught how to magnetize yourself to those angles, to those proper angles. Shiloh did a great job in the first half. Really good. His angles were much better. He finished his tackles all the way through. Shiloh was really playing like a good football player in that first half. Disappeared in the second half. Travis Hunter, his defense, he was all over the place. There was multiple occasions where he was completely unaware of where the ball was. Not just that occasion at the end where number 13 had caught the ball behind Travis Hunter's head because Travis Hunter wasn't aware of where the ball was at. That was like the third or fourth situation where Travis Hunter had no awareness. None. And we're not used to seeing that. So that's obviously an issue, something going on mentally where he wasn't focused like he should have been, And again, there's a lot going on on those sidelines, There's a lot of pressure. You start the game, there's 20 cameras in the huddle separating you from your coach. You're a football player trying to connect with your coach to start this game, and you got 20 cameras in the way. 20 cameras in the way. Now, see, I'd have to do something about that because it's not more important for me to get footage from my Coach Prime episodes. It's not more important for me to get footage for my YouTube channels. It's not more important for me to get footage for Instagram. It's not more important. It's more important for me to be connected with my team. That's what's the most important. So whether you do that for, you do that dog and pony show for entertainment, and then you call the team over again right after that, and you say, hey, this is really us right here. No cameras in this huddle. This is really us. And the camera's going to have to be on the outside, getting whatever they can. You got to do something to connect, to stay connected. You got to do more than just throw on chains and a hoodie and sunglasses and a hat and say, hey, look, I dress like you. I rock like you. We drip together. Drip don't matter when you out there playing like that. You got to find more productive ways to stay connected. Now, and I know I'm not saying this unknowing of Coach Prime and how dedicated he is to mentor these kids off the field, but that also has to translate into staying connected with them on the field in a better way that helps them be more productive or helps them be more prepared for moments like these. You know, if you have the right energy, if you have the right air that's filling you up, you're more prepared to stay afloat when needed, right? And we slowly started seeing everyone sink. That ship was sinking. Remember I talked about the ship? That ship was sinking, and it's beginning to sink. And it was a slow death in that second half. You could just see it happening. Slowly but surely, it was just coming and kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And it was almost like Coach Prime and the Buffaloes were just hoping and waiting to escape with the win like they did against ASU. That's not greatness. That's not greatness at all. That's not greatness at all. You know, there's things that you can do instead of leaning on everybody's neck. You know what I'm saying? As much as we love the sun, not too many enjoy the sun leaning on their neck, right? We love the sun. We sun people. We love it. But we don't love it when it's leaning on the back of our necks. You know what I'm saying? As much as those kids might love Coach Prime, they don't love it when he's leaning on the back of their neck like that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Get off the back of their neck, man. Be a cool breeze every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Be a cool breeze every once in a while and see how that works. I'm not saying walk around with drip acting cool. That's not what I mean by that. I'm just saying be a cool breeze to those around you. And see how that works for a little bit here. Balance that out a little bit. It's about balance. Again, I said before in the Broncos video about Sean Payton and the Broncos that everything doesn't have to be soft serve. You know, you saw Sean Payton getting on Russell Wilson. Like everything doesn't have to be soft serve at all. But everything doesn't have to be Baskin Robbins either. Right? Everything doesn't have to be, you know, Ben and Jerry's scoop either. You know, Ben and Jerry's got a soft serve too now. You know, right? Blue Bunny got a pretty good soft serve too now, right? Like you it's okay to balance. It's okay to have them both. You know, you ain't gotta only be a soft serve person or only be a hard scoop person. It's okay to balance it out, and that's what we need to see in Boulder. There's a little more balance. Yeah, we need the sun. We need the sun. But you might need to be a cool breeze every once in a while as well. Be a cool breeze too. If you gonna bring the heat, bring the breeze, man. If you gonna bring the heat, bring the breeze. Doesn't that sound logical? Doesn't that sound like it'll work? Doesn't that sound like it might pay off? Doesn't that sound like it's something that's like plants, right? You can't just give them the sun. You got to give them water. You go from a bad win to a terrible loss. That's not trending in the right direction. But the lesson learned definitely is whenever I am to be the sun, I am to also be the breeze that comforts the heat. Whenever I am to be the sun, I am also to be the breeze that comforts the heat, that soothes the heat, that soothes the burn. Because he just out here burning. Coach Prime out here just burning. He's seething hot. You know what I'm saying? Seething hot, man. You're going to have to be a breeze, man. And I don't know if he allows anybody on staff to be that. I mean, because that might contradict the energy or the posture that he may want to have, you know, moving through the facility. And hopefully that's not the case, but you never know. I mean, that's You know, when you're the person in charge and you're used to having that control, you want a certain type of environment. You want it to feel a certain type of way that you're used to, thriving in. You know, you might want to add a cool breeze, man. You know what I'm saying? You might want to get that cool breeze. And it's not going to be done with a DJ playing music. It's not going to be done with the latest rapper coming up the boulder to talk to the team. It's not going to be done, you know, with a barrage of former NFL players and friends and entertainers and actors and comedians. It's not going to be done with that, man. You know, it's going to be done by you, Coach Prime. You're going to have to turn that fan on when needed, man, and give that breeze. It's up to you. Now in closing, one of the things I wanted to say one of the things that worried me, you know, I'm all for the kids getting paid, man, you know, but one of the things that worried me about the whole idea of kids getting paid to play was the entitlement factor. You say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, of course, these kids have earned it. You know, they're out here doing what they do, but they're not just getting paid to play, right? They're getting paid to get noticed. They're getting paid to be stars. They're getting paid, you know, to build a brand. So sometimes when that's the case, you form this sort of attitude where you can't let anybody, you know, show you up. You can't let anybody do anything to you. You know, you can't be pushed. And you got people making the mistakes. You got Travis Hunter getting flagged for pushing a guy back. That wasn't anything that he shouldn't have been able to handle or deal with. But nonetheless, you saw the reaction. You saw the response. I mean, there's guys have to handle and deal with things better, but that comes from leadership. I'm not going to lose it because you pushed me. I'm not going to yell at you and lose it because you ran the wrong route. I got you, man. Let's do better next time. I'm not going to lose it and yell at you, you know what I'm saying? Because I expected you to be somewhere else, or I expected things to turn out a different way. Nah, man. Come on, we in this together. We got to make a difference together. We got to figure this out together. That's the attitude. That's the personality. That's the energy. That's the energy that you want to bring every game. Not, you know, who's looking to point fingers at who, but who's looking to pick up who. Who's looking to pick up who? Remember, I used to pick me up, pick me up. Remember that? Hey, there's no picking me up in Boulder. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have to get the foot off of the neck, get that son off of the neck, and start picking each other up, man. You know, because that's the energy. You can feel it. That's the energy. It's an oppressive energy during the games when things start going wrong. And sometimes when things are even going right. So you want to change that. You want to release the oppressive energy. All right. You want them to feel like wild Mustangs, you know what I'm saying? Wild stallions that have the ability to run free. But yet they still have the instinct to stay together, to dominate together, to win together, to protect each other together, to eat together. Right? I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. That is really, when you add the psychological part to it, it's really not that hard. It's really not. But when you say, when you incorporate again, and I said this in my video about Sean Payton. You don't want to be stubborn. You don't want to be George Carl. You know, be so stuck in your ways and how things were done to you that this is the only way that you know how to do things. You don't want to be like that. You know, you want to be able to translate. It's more, again, it's more than just your image. You want to understand how to get the best and the most out of your players. That's the key, is understanding how to get the best and the most out of your player. And the best coaches not only are able to do that for you to have a better life off the field, but of course, they're there to make sure that you do that on the field. Right? But one doesn't cancel the other out. The great ones aren't counterproductive. Right? And that's what we're seeing in Boulder right now, is that counterproduction. So comment down below. Let me know what you guys think after that terrible loss, that horrible loss. So I thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining me. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right. If this world were mine.